Hey everybody, it's your friend and your guy and your favorite creator who has opinions that aren't very popular, Gardiner, the Linux gamer. I've got a lot of questions about the Steam Deck. How does it perform? What kind of software is it running on the Steam Deck? All kinds of things. So I wanted to go over all of the questions, or maybe kind of the best questions that I've heard that I haven't necessarily heard answered other places. And I want to go over those and just give you the answers, because that's what we do here on this channel. We give answers. And opinions and other things. But anyway, so the first thing I was asked is, what display server is the Steam Deck running? And this is an actually very interesting question. I mean, I've been asked this by a lot of different people, and it appears that the Steam Deck is using X11 when it's in desktop mode and Wayland when it's in game mode, which I find fascinating. Now, the way I tested this was actually running a command in the terminal. You can see on screen right here. I ran this command in both KDE Plasma and in the GameScope game mode. And you can see here that we have Wayland and we have Xorg. Fascinating. But from that, let's move on to the SD card. Now, there was some speculation about exactly which file system the SD card was going to be formatted in. There are like standard formats like FAT32 and exFAT, but truthfully, I don't think either of those would be viable options for use on the Steam Deck. Besides FAT32 file size limitation and exFAT's notorious unreliability, neither of them support the kinds of file metadata that are required for a Linux application to actually be executed from the file system. Similarly, Windows' proprietary NTFS format would not have been an option either. So instead, the Steam Deck will format any SD card that you want to use with the device as an ext4 file system. Now, this is a modern, performant, and Linux-compatible file system, but it's also one that is not compatible with Windows without a serious amount of gymnastics on your part. And my experience trying to get ext4 drivers working on Windows has been painful, to say the least. So for people asking if you can copy files off of your Windows gaming PC to your SD card and then pop that into your Steam Deck, well, that's not really going to work because Windows doesn't read ext4. So if you copy files from Windows onto your SD card and then you move that SD card over to your Steam Deck's just going to ask you to reformat the drive. And if you format the drive for use on your Steam Deck and all you have in your house are Windows PCs, keep in mind that that card is going to be dedicated to your Steam Deck. You're not going to be able to use it on your PC or other devices for that matter. Maybe Android. I think Android might be compatible with ext4, but maybe it's not. I'm not sure. I'll put it up on the screen if it is. But I think that if you're going to have a micro SD card for your Steam Deck, it's going to be dedicated for your Steam Deck. All right, let's talk about external controllers. Now, Aaron Chamberlain asks, have you tried split screen and how does the control scheme work for that? So yeah, you can use a USB-C hub to connect wired controllers to the Steam Deck. If your hub has HDMI or DisplayPort out, then you'll be able to play the games on an external monitor as well. The Steam Deck's dock that's coming out in June is basically just a USB-C adapter. It's just a USB-C hub with DisplayPort and networking. So yeah, that's trivial to do. You can also use built-in Bluetooth. This works great with something like the PlayStation 4 controller, which I have right here. I have used my PlayStation 4 controller on the Steam Deck and it works pretty good actually. If you want to check it out, I did a live stream the other day where I tried using the DualShock 4 and it worked well. If you want to actually use the controller to play games rather than using the built-in controls, you can actually rearrange the input priority using the controller settings on the Steam Deck. Also, the keyboard and mouse via Bluetooth works great as well. Now, Adam Powers asked me about Bluetooth headsets. He said, do Bluetooth headphones work well? Is there any lag between screen action and sound action? So yeah, Bluetooth works well. It works as well as you would find on any Linux desktop. It does have a minor delay, which is normal for pretty much every Bluetooth device I've ever used. But once you've actually played for a bit, you kind of get used to it and the delay just kind of disappears. Now, I played a run of Spelunky 2 and and I was using my Jabra Elite headphones. They worked great, and like I said, I got used to the delay, and it wasn't really noticeable to me anymore. There's also wired audio output on the device. There's a 3.5 millimeter headphone jack on the Steam Deck. I haven't tested this because the only wired headphones that I have are my studio headphones, and they're 6 millimeter jacks rather than the 3.5. So I haven't tested that yet. Actually, I didn't test the headphones, but when I was doing the live stream, I used the headphone jack on the Steam Deck to pipe audio into the stream. So I have tested that, but I haven't tested it with headphones. But there's no delay with wired headphones, obviously. That's how they work. Fennec asks, have you figured out a way to lock the Steam Deck? No, near as I can tell, there is no way to lock the game mode UI. That's definitely something that Valve should add to game mode, though. Something I think it would actually be good if it was a button combo, like, you press L4, R1, YYBA or something, and then it would unlock the device so you could use it. You would type that in to come out of sleep mode or whatever. I'd be down for that. Now, you can obviously configure KDE however you want, but you can't automatically boot into KDE mode, so your mileage is going to vary on that. Non-Steam stuff. So NoPulse asked, what non-Steam things can you do with the Steam Deck? xCloud and Media Player, regular computer things on SteamOS? Yeah, pretty much everything you mentioned. I personally haven't tried xCloud for moral and ethical reasons, but you can use the Steam Deck as a computer. You can unlock the immutable file system with a single command, though using Pacman did prove problematic as the package signatures got corrupted right out of the gate. But it's possible. Now, it should be noted that every SteamOS update is going to overwrite any changes that you make to the operating system. Only changes that you've made to your home directory are going to be preserved across SteamOS upgrades. And at this stage, SteamOS is getting updates at least twice a week, it seems. So yeah, I don't know. You're going to have issues if you try and actually get your hands dirty in the operating system. But if you leave the immutable file system intact, you still have a ton of control over your device. I mean, you can make most of the changes that you would normally make through configuration files in your home directory. So it's not that big of a deal. And you can also install any Flatpak and you can run any app image. I tested Heroic Game Launcher as an app image. And while I don't buy any games from Epic Game Store, again, for ethical reasons, I can confirm that GOG works great. And since I touched on updates, I've been asked a bunch about updates and how they work on the Steam Deck. So it's pretty straightforward. I mean, gaming mode is basically a special build of Steam. And when your system first boots or you re-enter gaming mode, you're going to see a screen that says that it's looking for new updates. This is essentially the same thing as updating the Steam client when you first started. You'll also be able to see Steam client updates in the system settings or at the top of the screen. There's also going to be SteamOS updates. Now, what's interesting here is that SteamOS upgrades are actually independent of Steam upgrades. You're going to apply SteamOS updates using the update prompt at the top of the screen, and then you'll need to restart the device. As far as Flatpaks go, updates will only happen when you go into desktop mode and run the updates. So I've been asked about developer mode. The Linux Dragon asks, I've heard that there is a developer mode. How locked down is it on a scale from desktop Linux to Android? Now, okay, so developer mode I was a little confused about. Developer mode basically unlocks a new category in the settings menu that helps developers connect to a remote debugging tool, as well as enabling other debug features. It's not anywhere near as extensive as the debug menu on Android is, but it's still pretty neat. I would love to see more common settings and features added to this menu as well. As far as locked down goes, I mean, it has an immutable file system, but running a single command in the terminal will unlock it. So, I mean, as I said above, making changes here won't be preserved across operating system upgrades. Now, this is actually a good thing, in my opinion. I don't think Valve should need to worry about how the user might have made changes at the operating system level and how those changes will affect their gameplay and the operating system stability after an upgrade. Flat packs and app images, as I've said, they take up much of the slack here. And I think as we move forward and the Steam Deck continues to roll out and more developers get their hands on it, I think that flat packs are going to mature as a technology even faster. I think a lot of games, like open source projects and stuff like that, are going to release as flat packs just so that they can be used on this device. It's very exciting stuff, honestly. So I've been asked about VR. Will the Steam Deck VR? I mean, yeah, it will, but it requires adapters and dongles and a battery pack for the headset. And I literally don't understand why people keep asking me about this. So let's talk about emulation. I've got a lot of questions about emulation. As far as emulation goes, everything that I have tried has worked pretty great. PlayStation stuff like the PSP, PS1, 2, and 3, they all work great. Wii and GameCube also work fantastic through Dolphin. Switch is surprisingly great through Yuzu. I haven't tried the other one. And obviously all the older emulators also work great, Mupen and stuff like that. I haven't tried DOSBox or Citra, and I haven't tried virtual machines either. Zarlo asked me about cooling. How is the cooling? Is it loud? Does it run hot? It runs warm, and it can be a bit noisy, but nothing too distracting. Even at max fan speeds, it's not that bad. There's a bit of a high-pitched fan noise at max speed, and I'm particularly sensitive to that, but it's rare that I've ever pushed the Steam Deck to the extreme where it actually causes that noise to happen continuously. Things that I have noticed in the way of airflow. Your hands don't heat up when you're using the Steam Deck. This is a problem that I've had with literally every gaming PC handheld I've ever used, except for the Steam Deck. The Steam Deck actually is very comfortable to hold. The problem is, maybe it's just that it's winter here and it's cold in my house, but honestly, I think that the airflow through the Steam Deck is actually causing my hands to get chillier, which is strange. But if you think about the way the air flows through the handles, it's pulling the warmth of my hand through the plastic and into the device. At least that's how it feels to me. My hands get cold if I use it for a prolonged period. And again, it's winter, so maybe that's actually just winter. But I do believe that the handles reach at least a slightly sub-ambient temperature. And I think that that's pretty interesting. Atanas Minkov asks, already ordered mine, but is it worth it to get the top spec Steam Deck? That really depends. Do you plan on playing a lot of AAA games that take up like 80 plus gigabytes? Or are you into the idea of always having a ton of games on hand on the deck? If that's the case, you'll probably want the most storage you can get and then also upgrade by buying a micro SD card. I've got 32 games installed on my Steam Deck right now. That's spread out across the 512 internal and a 256 SD card. I have the 512 gig model. And the thing is, I have run out of storage on my Steam Deck. I'm going to buy a 1 terabyte SD card, and we're going to try that. I think that should be fine. But the thing is, I have a lot of like AAA games on there that I don't actually intend to play. I just have them on there for like benchmarking and stuff. Shadow of the Tomb Raider, Control, Doom Eternal, Doom Eternal I'll actually play, but I don't think I'll play Shadow of the Tomb Raider or Control really. Those are more there just to show off the hardware. The thing is, I mostly play indie games or older AAA games, something like Burnout Paradise and Max Payne 2 and stuff like that. Those work great, and they only take up like 1.5 gigs or 2 gigs each. So if you only play those kind of indie games or older AAA games, then the 256 or even the 64 gig model might do well for you, especially if you have a micro SD card on the side. The other side of this is availability. If you want your Steam Deck now and you don't care about storage, then get the smaller models, as I've heard that those ones are actually being shipped faster than the 512 gig model, but I can't confirm that. That's all I've heard from rumors. I have reserved a 512 gig model, and when it's my turn to actually buy the deck that I reserved, I'm not going to think twice about ordering it. That's the one I'm going to get. Now, the last question I'm going to cover in this video is, can you get work done? And there has been a lot of people asking me if I can edit videos or compose documents or program on this thing. And yeah, it is definitely possible to get a ton of work done on the Steam Deck. You can edit videos, you can write documents, you can program. There's both Firefox and Chrome available for you to install. You can have Kden Live on here, you can install VS Code. Yes, the Steam Deck is a very powerful PC, but I'm not going to sugarcoat this. I don't think that I want to use this as my workstation while I'm traveling. I'd rather have like a dedicated laptop to get my work done on. And there's many reasons for this, not the least of which is having to carry other accessories around with me, like a screen, because there's no way that I would edit 4K video on a 7-inch 800p screen. Just won't do it. That's not a possibility for me. But I'd also need to carry around a keyboard and a mouse. So that's a keyboard, a mouse, and a screen at a minimum. And I would also want a stand for this to sit upright on my desk, because I'm not sure if this has been designed for prolonged use laying horizontally on a desk. I don't know. I would like to try this with a Mira book. I think that would be really interesting. I don't know if the Mira books offer a 45 watt power delivery option. And you would need a 45 watt power delivery system in order to actually get this to charge from whatever external device you're using. The Mira book has internal batteries. It would be interesting to try a Mira book with this. I don't have one, so Mira book, if you're watching, send me one. I'll try it on the Steam Deck. It'll be great. We'll have fun. Well, that's going to do it for this video. I am so happy with my Steam Deck. I honestly can't believe that I have one of these in my hands. This thing is mint, guys. This is so much fun to play. I have literally wasted so much of my time the last week that I've had this. I honestly think I have played more in the last week than I think I've played games total in the last year. Excluding what I've played on here. So I think I've probably played maybe 20 hours, 30 hours of gaming total in the last year, besides what I played on the Steam Deck. And I've probably put 3 or 4 days worth of actual gaming on the Steam Deck since I've had it. So yeah, that's the Steam Deck. Those are your questions. If you have any more, leave them in the comments below. I am reading the comments. I'd love to hear what you guys think about this, what your questions are. And if I have enough questions, I'm going to make another video answering your questions, because this thing, I'm obsessed with the Steam Deck. This is, it's better than I thought it could have been. And with every software update that they're releasing, it's becoming even cooler. So yeah, it's fun to see it go from where it started, where it shipped to me to where it is now. It's just crazy. But that's going to do it for this video. If you like this video, make sure you hit that like button. You can hit that subscribe button if that's more your speed. You can stay up to date with all the cool Steam Deck stuff that we're doing on the channel, because this is going to become the Steam Deck channel. I want to give a special shout out to all of my patrons and my YouTube members who make what I do here on this show possible. If it wasn't for you guys, I wouldn't be able to do this. So thank you. If you believe in the work that I do and you want to help support this show, become one of the 100+ Linux warriors who help this show become what it is, you can use the links below to support the show on YouTube or Patreon. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you all have a blessed day, and I'll see you guys in the next one.